What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Grinderslive here on Rotogrinders. I'm the great Turd Ferguson, joined by the great Kurt DC. Kitty, I'm going to be breaking down some MLB today. Nice little 7-game slate. Not too much, which is nice because I'm exhausted from football. It's always a grind doing both these at the same time. But I got someone here to help do the heavy lifting. How you doing over there, Kirk?
Doing all right. Yeah, I'm heavy into football. I am now addicted to these Yahoo Showdown slates, which is, like the fan bits. That's just like FanDuel. It's like your first instinct is like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, right? Like there's like, it doesn't matter. You can play anyone you want at captain spot. But now I'm like fully on addicted to it, and I'm trying to figure out the best approach. So I'm all into football too, but happy to play a little baseball. I'm happy it's not a massive slate. So yeah. What's going on? How'd you do? You crushed it. I saw you up top on Yahoo this weekend.
I mean, I doubled up, a little bit more than doubled up on Yahoo, and then lost enough on other sites too. I did the numbers. I made $56 this weekend. Just big.
It's straight grind. That's grinding, baby.
Well, it's just funny when you put in that amount of money and you're up $56. It's just like, all right, well, I worked a 15-hour day, made $56. Great. That was less than minimum wage, well less than minimum wage. But yeah, no, I played the Monday Night Football game slate last week over on Yahoo. Might have to dig back into it again. It looks like there's a decent amount of overlay over there. So I don't know. Do you have any?
It sucks you in. They've been filling so now lately. So they sucked you in with the first week one, and now they've been filling. So we'll see how this one goes tonight. I think this one might be a little bit bigger tonight than it was last night.
Yeah, no, I mean, Monday night last week, I would think it was pretty big. And this one's 200K. Is it 150? Yep. So I might be throwing 150 lineups. Why not? I've got the showdown slate. Maybe I'll make it on the showdown slate. Man, that's a good idea. Tune in later for the pre-lock show with me and Blender now. And maybe I'll make 150 lineups over on Yahoo. But we got baseball to talk about. It's a fun little slate. It's not terribly complex. It's pretty much like, I don't know, what's your overview? Mine is kind of just like the pitchers are very, very obvious. And then the pivots away from the pitchers are very, very obvious. And the bats are very obvious. And the pivots away from them are fairly obvious. Like what's your kind of overview on the slate?
Yeah, so I think there's certainly enough good pitching, right? Like we've got some pretty decent arms here, but the problem is it's like I'm lumping, they're all kind of lumped together except for like Robbie Ray at the top. And then I have some issues. I have some concerns, at least with Peralta. Typically he would be right up there in the top two. And then we've got guys like Nestor Cortez. It's been amazing how good Ranger Suarez has been. He's certainly, he's like a must play on DraftKings, at least for cash games for sure. Maybe you can give me some tournament advice there, but Nestor Cortez, then we get the new young prospect on Tampa Bay, Shane Baz, who's supposed to be absolutely electric, but like a pitching prospect on the Rays, the first thing you think of is, pitch count for sure with that situation. So then we got Sean Manaea, so there's plenty of good arms. And then there's the one that shines, Robbie Ray. And Ray has a great matchup from a strikeout perspective. It just had a massive game against them. I'm a little bit worried about seeing him again so close, but we know that Tampa strikes out. They start out the second highest clip against left-handed pitching. Ray's going to get strikeouts. So Ray's the top dog for me, and then it's who do I, and it's like such a key decision. Who do I play as SP2?
Yeah, no, I mean, that Tampa Bay game, like both pitching spots, like it's super interesting. I think last night the total was set at 8.5. Toronto was around a 130, 125 favorite. It just didn't look right to me. Now they're all the way up to a 140 favorite, and the total is down to 8. So it's dropping. Everyone can definitely see that Bay's supposed to be a very good prospect. Like we look at his numbers in AAA, 36% K rate, AA, 40% K rate, under a 2x FIP at AA, under a 3x FIP over in AAA. He's probably going to come in here. It is a tough start going up against the Blue Jays, but he has pretty solid overall control. So the fact that they know how to work the count, not as much of a concern for him, considering that he does have pretty solid overall control. The pitch count is the real tough part. We just don't know exactly what it's going to be. My guess is he's fully stretched out. So I'm willing to almost bet that he's just going through the lineup twice. Like the Tampa Bay Rays followed no more than 3 times through the lineup philosophy. So they'll let him get through the lineup. So he's got about 18 batters to face. You have to assume 2 hits, a walk. So essentially, if he can limit it to 2 hits and a walk, he can maybe get to 5 innings, and he can probably end up getting the win. But Robbie Ray on the other side, it's not terribly likely that Baz is going to win. So there's a lot to unpack in that, and it's just very interesting situation. But yeah, let's Robbie Ray, like, are you just locking him in?
For DraftKings, yeah. And then on FanDuel, no. Because of pricing. But on Yahoo, it's a big decision for me tonight because he's not projecting very well, but and Freddie Peralta's projecting very well, but I just have some worries about Peralta's pitch count. I know Peralta had a low pitch count last game, but he pitched very well. But the reason why was because it was the rain crept into the game. So that's not his fault. It's just, it makes no sense for the Brewers to push them. They're locked into their playoff spot. They probably should want to lose this game, to be honest, because they probably don't want to pass San Fran. But Robbie Ray, it's just tough for the price, but I think I'm going to lock Ray in. So that coming into this show, unless you change my mind, I was all about locking Ray in.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to change your mind. I will lock him in. I'm not playing a ton tonight because we got football and it's not a huge slate.
Yeah, well, we got 150 lineups to build in Showdown.
Yeah, luckily I've got an entire show to talk with Blender about. But yeah, like Robbie Ray, he's got over 10 strikeouts in 5 of his last 6 outings. Like his strikeout rate sitting at 44.4%. That's Jacob deGrom-esque. Over the last month, he's been absolutely crushing. He just put up 13 strikeouts against the Tampa Bay team last time. They're going to be platooning a lot of guys out, which over the last month, he's striking out righties at a significantly higher percentage than lefties. Not terribly surprising considering his pitch mix, but he's just so gosh darn good. And I know the projection systems are not really projecting him for that much, which is just super surprising to me. I think it's because a lot of them, they tend to equalize like guys lowering their walk rate. Cardi talked about Robbie Ray a little bit earlier on this season. Why the bat probably doesn't like him as much as it should is they don't think that control issues just go away. And so the fact that he's sitting at 6.3% K rate on the season compared to 11.3% K rate last season, I think that's right. Maybe it's the season before. I don't know. Like he's kind of expecting him to have a little bit less control than he is shown pretty much all season long. And it takes a lot longer sample size for that to normalize. Add in that they rarely ever have like that many strikeouts for a pitcher. I think the bat currently has him projected at like 7.8. I took the over on his strikeouts at 8.5. I think that's a good line, but it's not really dropped at all, which is kind of surprising to me. I guess a lot of people are probably looking at projection systems and thinking the other way, but in any case, Ray is just, he's just a stone cold lock for me. With how good he's pitching lately, legit spot that he can put up 35 to 40 points. Like his downside.
He just put up 40, against them in the same matchup. So certainly can do it. And then, let's just look at like the last 30 days here, right? He's started 5 games. He's got a 44.4% K percentage over those last 30 days in those 5 games. And that includes that one rough start against Baltimore where he just did not look himself at all. And he still had 8 Ks in that game. So, I mean, you look at that 11, 14, 10, 10, 8, 13. I mean, 44% K rate over the last 30 days, like signed against a team that Ks, and he doesn't have to deal with any weather issues anywhere. He's inside. It's a park upgrade for him. It's just, I think Ray is just the clear ace. He's an actual ace. And then the other guys are just like decent, you know?
I mean, Peralta is technically an ace, but pitch count, like you can absolutely throw Peralta in there, but even you look at their side-by-side numbers, you're not going to get a good enough discount. And Valdez, he's an ace, but he's realistically not a huge fantasy pitcher. Like, he gets ground balls at an incredible rate, but everything else is just kind of like, all right, it's not great, it's not terrible, it's just fine. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Ray. Let's talk about this. Who are we using at SP2 then on DK, and who you have else at SP1 over on FanDuel. So let's talk about this next little tier here, or let's talk about the next 4-5 highly owned guys, because I don't know if we're looking at much else. We can talk about them, but Freddie Peralta, obviously, we don't know what his pitch count's going to be. It's been a little bit up and down. He yanked him after a certain amount last game, but he had already gotten to 6 innings. So that could have been the reason why they're pretty much locked into the playoffs. They want to make sure that he's healthy. He's going up against the St. Louis team that doesn't strike out at a huge clip. We got Ranger Suarez, plain and simple, underpriced. He's very good. He's not a 6.5K pitcher. Manea, up and down all the time. Solid matchup going up against Seattle. Valdez, solid matchup against LA. Not a ton of strikeouts. And Cortez, good matchup going up against Texas. Probably going to be the least owned of all of them. And on top of that, he's got good strikeout stuff. And Texas is a decent strikeout lineup. Plus, gives up a decent amount of hard contact fly balls, but this team really can't hit a home run. So in this second tier, like, kind of rank them where you're looking at, what are your favorite plays and what you're doing.
Well, I think for DraftKings, it's just ridiculously too cheap price on Ranger Suarez. I mean, let's just look at what this guy's been doing. So if I pull up, everyone's kind of very lumped into the same kind of group. So after you get to Robbie Ray with the 44% strikeouts, you got Freddie Peralta at 34%. And we know Peralta's a high strikeout guy. Then we've got that whole next tier. So we've got Nestor, the molester Cortez. He is 29% K percentage. And that's a little inflated because he had a ceiling start the other night. So certainly, though, he gets a good matchup with Texas. You got Yanoa at 28.6%, and then you got Ranger Suarez at 28.2%. So they all have a similar swinging strike rate. Call strikes per whiffs are all pretty much around the same. The walk, Yanoa has the highest control from a walk perspective. Ranger Suarez is lower than Nestor Cortez, lower than Peralta has been. So only one, with better control is Sean Manaea. And we go to let's see who has had home run tendencies. That's the one issue with Nestor Cortez. He has given up some long balls, but the Sierra is nice. His ERA is low. This is a good matchup with Texas. So Nestor's kind of the guy, at least from an ownership perspective, that I'm looking at on DraftKings. Ranger Suarez, he's just as good as all these guys. So he take that discount and worry about other spots to get different. So and then over on Yahoo, Sean Manaea is priced too cheap. He's cheaper than all those guys. So I think I'm kind of wrestling between Cortez and Manaea, and Manaea goes deeper into games. It's also, the good thing about each of these guys is that they're both playoff hunting. The Yankees have, according to Fangraphs, have about a 29% chance of reaching the postseason. The problem is with the Phillies have, the A's for Manaea have really been slumping, and so they're down to about just under a 10% to make the playoffs, but they're going to be trying. And so these guys, they're going to need their guys pitching, and they're going to need Manaea going deep in this game. This is certainly a winnable game. They need every one of them. So I certainly give some credence to the guys in winnable, who are in must-win spots.
Yeah, no, I mean, main thing with the Yankees is Cortez probably won't be going that late into the game because the Yankees have a very good bullpen behind him. That's the one potential problem with Cortez there. Manaea, yeah, he'll get a long leash as long as he's pitching well. He should end up crushing. So ceiling isn't really hurt, but if he's struggling like he has multiple times over the last 5-6 games, then there's always the decent chance that he could end up getting yanked. So it's an interesting spot between those two. Earlier on the day, we had Cortez only projected for 8% ownership. We're now up to 26, which seems like it might be right. So my decision was pretty much made for me early in the morning when Manaea was at 50 and Cortez was at 8. It was obviously Cortez. Now ownership is close enough between them where I'm kind of going over to Peralta a little bit, who's projected to be the lowest owned of the three. Everyone is worried about his pitch count, like I said, but Peralta, they'll let him go 85 pitches. His strikeout stuff, he can easily end up outscoring. Manaea obviously has some problems. Peralta does have the toughest matchup, but it's just a spot where you're kind of playing for the upside, and just the fact that he's at lower ownership and Manaea's had his problems. Like, I think Manaea's third on my list between Peralta, Cortez, and Manaea. What do you think about Valdez? I know you're probably just leaving them out.
Yeah, I just don't see the need for him tonight. He's had some control issues. He's not a high K guy. I don't think the Astros really have anything to play for to push these guys or anything. So yeah, I've just kind of X'd him out, to be honest with you. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. It's not like he's going to go unowned. We currently haven't projected for double-digit ownership. So I'm kind of at a spot where Valdez just doesn't seem to make the build. You get higher upside with each of the other three guys. Unless Valdez ends up with a complete game shutout, he's probably not getting over 30 points, and you could realistically get 30 points from every other of those 5 guys. So I'm out on him. Noah, not really projecting well, not really a great matchup. Higher implied team total than the other guys. Yes, he's coming in at low ownership, but I don't see a 30-point game out of him. Again, he's not, since he's come back, he's kind of been pretty decent, but I don't know if that's going to continue. So I'm out on them. Where do you rank? Like, so Suarez, are you going to lock him into, or are you going to put bits and pieces of Manaea, Cortez, and Peralta in there?
Yeah, I spread it. I mean, if you're mass entering, spread it out between these guys for sure. I mean, any of them could go off, any of them could get lit up. But I mean, Ranger is the best SB2, at least from on a DraftKings perspective.
Yeah, it's not even remotely close on point per dollar. It's
I mean, they're literally the number. You're literally taking guys with the exact same numbers, and you're paying way more for them. So it's like if you're going to follow the numbers, as I'm sure Cheese alludes to this and does this as well. I mean, it's just the discount, as Cheese would say, is just silly. So the one thing I worry about with Peralta too is the fact that that they're really locked into their spot. But St. Louis has been, I mean, that's a team that's on the upswing right now. Their bats are hot, and they are gunning into the playoffs now. They have a 75%, according to Fangraphs, about or 74% chance to make the playoffs. They still have to hold off the Reds here, but they and the Phillies, but they're hot. So I could see them getting to Peralta in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing with them is they don't really work the count that much. They don't strike out a ton. But biggest problem with Peralta is he's a guy that walks a ton of guys. Like, he's an elite pitcher. If you take away the walks, add in the walks, and he just becomes a very good pitcher. So the fact that outside of Goldschmidt, no one really has a high walk rate. Peralta strikes out both sides of the plate at a pretty decent clip. So he's facing more righties than lefties, higher strikeout rate versus righties because he has a fantastic slider. So that's kind of my rationale behind it. Again, if he was going to be 50% owned like he was this morning, I'm not going to play him. But at same ownership as all these other guys, the only ones that are in my pool, really, definitely consider him. But you do make good points. The Cardinals are very hot recently. They are doing well, and they're not as bad as a lineup as some people think. Plus, it's not in the best ballpark in the world. It's not a bad one, but it's not a great one either. So it's just a spot where I'm going to be sprinkling. I'm more than likely, I'm rolling out 3 lineups tonight. I'm going to have 1 Suarez, 1 Peralta, 1 Cortez, no Manea. And then I'm locking in Robbie Ray. That's my current lineup build. We'll see what happens when we actually start getting all the lineups here. Could end up changing, but you have enough low price bats in some pretty good spots where you can end up going there. Anything else on pitching before we move on to bats? Like
I think
Means,
Baz,
Anderson?
they're asking about Baz in chat about paying for him on DK. I certainly think that you can. I question the upside because I'm just sure he's going to be limited here. But like, could he rack up like 6 strikeouts in his time at a first time? You know, if he comes out hot, I mean, this kid's supposed to be absolutely electric, a top prospect. Yeah, he could probably get 5 or 6 Ks, and that would probably do you just fine for that price. But and he's cheap on Yahoo too. What's he over on FanDuel?
Let's see. FanDuel. He is 6.9. The problem with FanDuel is the quality start. Nice. Problem on FanDuel is, I don't think he's going to get 6 innings.
I would hold off on FanDuel. I would take some shots with him on Yahoo and DK.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm double checking his pitcher props right now. It was currently at 3.5 this morning. Most sites moved it up to 4.5 or took it off the board. I like the over at 3.5. I think that's a low one. It's over on Caesar Sportsbook. It's at -160 juice, but I don't care. He's a 35% K rate. He's probably projects 30% K rate. If he's going to face 18 batters, most likely, then all he needs to do is strike out 4 of those. That's not going to be a problem. Because again, it's not like he was pitching relief down in the minors. He was pitching full games. He's stretched out. So let him go through the lineup twice as long as he's not getting beat up. That's just a bad number. But the fact that you can't get it like 4.5 strikeouts being the number on most other sites, you're probably not getting much more than 5. So he'd have to limit damage to everyone in the Toronto Blue Jays lineup, which is a very unlikely scenario. And we have 6 other pitchers that can go for drastically higher points. So the only thing you're really doing is getting leverage off of Suarez if you play Baz, and you'll end up with the same lineup as a lot of other guys with Baz instead of Suarez. But because of that, you can get 10 extra points if Suarez has a bad game. Problem is, ground ball pitcher, decent strikeout rate. Unlikely that he gets under 10 points. Very unlikely. So I'm kind of with you. I don't really want to play Baz. Everyone else, like, just not going to go there. Let's move on to bats here. Let's just talk about some of our favorite stacks. I mean, we got the Yankees, we got Houston, we got the Braves. They're the likely 3 top-owned stacks on the entire slate, all in good matchups against not great pitchers. Are you mostly going with them, or are you going off the board with anyone?
Yeah, I think the Yankees are the top spot for sure. I think you have to. I mean, what do we want? We want home runs, right? What do the Yankees do? They hit home runs or they strike out. It's like this is certainly a good matchup. AJ Alexi is not supposed to be very strong of a pitcher in his 3 starts. He's got a 24% K rate, so he could get some Ks here, but he doesn't have like a nasty pitch repertoire. He doesn't throw like massive heat. He's got a 5.48 Sierra in his starts already. Let's see here. He's a so far in his limited work here, massive fly ball rate. That does not sound very good for the situation that he's going up in Yankee Stadium. So yeah, I think the Yankees are certainly the top spot. And so you got to pick up your homers. I think I like the lefties the best for sure, especially with that short porch and his fly ball tendency. So I'd look to like Gallo and Anthony Rizzo first. But yeah, the Yankees the top one. Who's the second is the Astros, right? Is that what you were saying?
One interesting thing about Alexi, we don't have a huge sample size on him. Small sample size.
Of course not. Yep.
He's much better versus lefties than he is versus righties. The guy doesn't have a fantastic slider. It is getting a decent amount of whiffs, but again, small sample size. The guy's more of a curveball changeup guy, so he's probably going to come in a little bit reverse splits and going to give up more hard contact to righties than he is going up against lefties. So just something to think about. Like a lot of people are automatically going to go with the cheaper guys that are lefties. So Rizzo currently projected for 21%, Gallo currently projected for 21%. I kind of like going with the righties and Stanton and Torres and Judge, even LeMahieu.
Yeah, I like them. I like them all.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't go wrong on anyone outside of Brett Gardner, who is at least cheap. But yeah, just something I wanted to mention there. But yeah, the next one is Houston going up against Barria. Like Barria's really not great. Houston is very good. Don't have that lineup yet. But I think the chalkiest hitter probably on the entire slate might end up being Yordan Alvarez, at least as a spend up.
Yeah.
Like, but
massive plate IQ rating.
Ooh, that's always good. Yeah. No, it's just such a good spot. Barria does not strike out either side of the plate at all. He doesn't give a ton of fly balls.
Yeah, super low Ks. We're talking 16 to righties, 9 to lefties. Yeah, you said he gives up a ton of look at his hard contact. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you don't strike guys out and you're just basically throwing strikes, he doesn't have stuff that can swing and miss. He throws fastball, slider, sinker. He's going to get a lot of hard contact. So yeah, no, it's just ridiculous here. Like, this is such a good spot. The only thing that is keeping me off them even the slightest bit is the ballpark not being great. But we don't really have a ton of great ballparks on the slate. It's probably New York #1, and then Philly or Milwaukee #2, and they're not fantastic ballparks. So I don't know. Like, I can't find any way off of Houston or the Yankees, except for I think that Philly's going to go a little bit under-owned. I mean, we're talking about all these good spend-ups. Judge is going to come in at high ownership. Alvarez is going to come in at high ownership. Bryce Harper is going to be 3% owned. So our current project. Some of the other guys are going to be decently owned. But I think
I saw a very sharp fella tag him in lineup HQ today and did a little write-up on him.
Is that me or is that you? Did you do it also?
No, that's you.
Oh, it's me. I'm not used to being called a smart fellow. Yeah. No, like, everyone doesn't really want to play the lefty-lefty matchup. You look at plate IQ, and he's going up against Means. Looking at his overall numbers on the season, like, if we're just not throwing out ISO and WOBA, because, again, those can regress in either direction, looking at the underlying numbers, the K rate, the ground ball rate, the fly ball rate, the hard contact rate, incredibly similar between those two, average hit distance. So it very easily, anything can happen. Like, when you have a 400 plate appearance sample size compared to 105, like, it's probably enough to know that these ground ball, fly ball, hard contact tendencies are going to be fairly similar. But the ISO and WOBA, drastically different, just because some balls haven't left the yard against lefties, which 2 home runs against him against left-handed pitching changes his ISO all the way up to 187, which is pretty close to the same against righties. Going up against Harper, looking at Harper's numbers against righties, not fantastic good, but looking at his numbers against lefties, 394 ISO, 475 WOBA. Like, we look at that, and if we assume that Means is actually splits neutral, which would surprise me if he is, he has a good changeup, he has a good slider, so he should be pretty darn splits, and a good curveball. He should be splits neutral. Assuming he splits neutral, Bryce Harper should be right up there with Alvarez and Judge.
And a thing that I like to look at nowadays, like towards the end of the season here, is I keep like a list of the bullpens and how they're doing, especially on these teams that have nothing to play for. And, Baltimore is 4th in home runs per 9 over the last 30 days from a bullpen perspective. They have a pretty high xFIP at 5.21. So, I mean, we know the Baltimore bullpen we always want to get there. So as soon as even if Means is on for a while, you get some extra upside getting into that bullpen too as well. So I certainly do like the Phillies here in this spot tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm changing up my ownership. I'm probably going a lot heavier on the Phillies now, like, just because we got the ownership projection update, and it's just the easiest way to do it is to get these Phillies into your, like, I trying to find a way to get different. It was going to be not playing as much Ranger Suarez. The more I talk about it, the more I think through it, and just playing the Phillies is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can get down with that.
All right, you want to do a little, any other stacks that you're really looking at?
I mean, I'm tempted to, I think just because the Cardinals are so hot right now, I'm tempted to see if they could rip through Peralta here, and just especially for the leverage spot. So that's one I'm eyeing. Let's see who else. Oh, I mean, the Braves. We got to talk about the Braves.
Oh, yeah.
The Braves, I like these teams that are still, still are looking good to make the playoffs, but they still have to hold off some of these other guys here. So the Braves are in that boat. Mejia is just does not project very well in general to be very strong. I'll pull up what he's done so far in his I think he's 3 starts he's made. This is his 3rd start and his first time facing the Braves here.
Soler leading off.
I don't have a lineup yet unless I'm
I just looked at double checking here. Soler's leading off.
oh, boom. God, I mean the lineup looks pretty darn. I mean, the lineup looks amazing, to be honest with you, from a home run hitting perspective. Soler, Freeman, Albies, Austin Riley, Duvall, Eddie Rosario, Swanson, and then Contreras. I mean, every one of those guys is a potential bomb. Every single one of them.
Yeah, no, and it's just a solid overall spot. Braves are right there too. Anyone else? Like, are you potentially going? You said you're going leverage a little bit with the Cardinals, like the Mariners. Any interest in them with what's his name being high owned? Baltimore, like Rangers, Suarez, we talked about being good. We look at the Orioles numbers overall on the season. They're really not great, but you change it to just righties. And yes, at this point, we can probably say it's a large enough sample size. Against righties, they're not a bad team. We look at their WOBA and they are, let's see, 10th in the league in terms of WOBA going up against lefties. WRC plus, they're sitting over 100. They're above average. They're all super cheap. Like outside of Montcastle, you're really not paying too much. Hayes is leading off. I think I might be a little bit different. Just stack up the Orioles there.
Yeah, no, the Orioles are always a much higher threat against left-handed pitching. Certainly, I mean, Suarez has pitched amazing, so it's not the numbers, like it's not a spot to attack. It's just simply, you're going to get a bunch of guys who hit left-handed pitching pretty well in that top half of the order. The bottom half, I don't really care for, but Austin Hayes, Mountcastle, Santander, Severino, all those guys are hit left-handed pitching very well.
Yeah, and I just ran my projections and spit out a Baltimore, New York stack that I'm really liking with Ray and Cortez. You can pay off the pitching real easily if you just stack against Suarez. And I mean, I'm mostly playing bigger field tournaments, getting them at 1%. I'm probably going to end up doing that. So, all right, you want to do around the horn and then we'll get to some questions?
Good ballpark. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's start off at catcher here. Is it just Gary?
Man, that guy's rough though. I hate playing that guy, but I think Real Muto is probably number 1. Gary Sanchez number 2, and then I would look to Severino on sites where he's cheap. I know, which is pretty much all of them now that I look.
William Contreras is in the lineup, by the way, so he's 3.2.
Yep. Yeah, I like him, but he's down at the bottom there, 8th. But I mean, Severino batting cleanup for cheap, I like.
Yeah, right there with you. Let's move on to first base here. Who you rolling with? Is it Rizzo at cheap?
I do like Rizzo. He's been disappointing to say the least as a Yankee, but certainly this is a good spot for the Yankees bats tonight. So he's someone I like. Freddie Freeman, you have to like too, right? Like against, I just love when I see that line. I mean, I think I'm just going to stack the hell out of the Braves as much as best I can tonight. And then take a couple of my favorite home run bats from the Yankees and try to fit it all together. I think that's my plan, and that's pretty chalky, but it's what I like. So from there, I mean, who else are we playing? I mean, Goldschmidt, I told you I would, these guys are definitely heating up.
Matt Olson in the lefty-lefty matchup. Tyler Anderson's been pretty solid versus lefties this year.
Yeah,
But he's still giving up a 40% hard contact rate, and Olson smashes.
Yeah, definitely. I can get behind that one. Mountcastle, I like always. I mean, the guy hits bombs. So I like that. I pass on Gurriel for me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. It's
everyone I've
Rizzo.
mentioned.
If you have the
Yeah.
money, Freeman. Like those are your cash game guys. In tournaments, you can go with Olson, with Mountcastle. You can throw Real Muto in at first base. But second base, I mean, to me, it's for cash. You're either paying down for Torres or you're paying up for Albies or Altuve. Anyone else is kind of just a tournament spot.
Yeah, Albies certainly is my favorite if I can get to him. Then from there, it's guys like, I mean, I have no problem playing Josh Harrison, Colton Wong, guys like that if I have to. Mean Gene, I don't mind here with the Segura, with the platoon. Let's see.
I know you're not a huge umpire guy, right?
I am not. I've learned to count it less and less, but I mean, I definitely look at it.
So we got the umpires now. Extreme pitcher umpire in the Toronto game. So Ray and Baz. I'm glad I hit the over on both those strikeout props. Extreme hitter
for Peralta.
Yeah. So like
play some of these St. Louis bats tonight. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you. I don't know. I'll probably, if I were playing more lineups, I'd probably end up with some more. But like, yeah, they're pretty good spot considering Peralta can get wild, and yeah, if you have an extreme hitters umpire, that can definitely cause some problems with him. But let's just get through the rest of these bats real quick before we get to questions. Third base, I feel like it's Bregman or Riley. Like two guys, great hitters, part of the order, underpriced.
Yeah, Austin Riley's my number one. I feel best about him. I like Bregman too. I just worry about the Astros really being in it. I mean, they really have nothing to play for. But other than that, Josh Rojas, where I need him, but he's also shortstop eligible. Urshela on the Yankees down at the bottom, number 9. At least he's cheap, right? Like can hit a bomb. That's all.
Siri is hitting leadoff for Houston.
Yeah, so they're doing funky things with their line, like because they don't really have anything to play for. Yep, Siri, Bregman, Alvarez, Gurriel, Tucker made it. I wasn't sure because he got he left the game, I think yesterday, early. Correa, Marwin's back, Chaz, Maldonado.
Yeah.
Siri, 2K. I mean, you can now do whatever you want on this slate.
Yeah. This is gonna get interesting here. Let's get through the rest of these. Shortstop, Correa is a little bit further down the lineup, so I'm less on him. I think he's batting 6th, maybe 7th. But Adames, he's 3.9K. Torres is 3.2K. Urshela, 2.9K. I feel like that's where you go. If you want to go a little bit off the board, I don't think that Swanson's going to be terribly high owned since he's down in the order.
Yeah, Swanson's my favorite of the bunch. Correa would be my number 2. Josh Rojas would be my number 3. Then Urshela. Looking at Didi, but no.
Oh yeah, Altuve's not in the lineup.
Yeah.
All right, outfield, and then we'll get to your questions, guys. Go ahead and start dropping in. Devin will probably read out it off to us. I'm not sure without Dean here. I'm the one leading gig, but outfield, I feel like for cash games, you're probably taking Soler, Tucker, and then Alvarez. I feel like those are the cash game guys. If you don't have the money, Rosario's 2.5K, and he's solid. But like, I feel like those are your cash game outfields. You can do a whole lot in tournament, but is that kind of the cash game build you see?
I'm sure Siri's going to start popping.
Oh gosh, yeah,
Potentially.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But just Soler for sure too. He's also leading off. I mean, Duval, I like. Yordong is going to be the chalk, but I certainly like him in the spot. Joey Gallo, I love. Tucker's just priced nicely. Then Stanton Judge, like, and then Andrew McCutcheon. I mean, this is a guy I always play against lefties. You know, he hasn't had the greatest season this season, but certainly is a guy that can hit a bomb, and especially when you get into that bullpen too. And he's only 3,500 on DK.
Yeah, yeah, we'll bring Devin. We'll bring Devin on here in a second. I am better than Dean, so I always give him a few moments notice. But yeah, Hayes sitting there at 3.2K, 250 ISO versus lefties, 359 WOBA. Like, they keep keeping his price low, but he's been very good and only strikes out at 15% clip. He's a solid overall batter, and I think he's batting leadoff. So Hayes is definitely a guy that I'm making sure to get into my Baltimore stacks. And if you're taking
Santander as well.
Yeah, Santander
Take your
is
pick.
solid. I mean, I drastically prefer Hayes. Like, I go Santander on slates where Baltimore's actually going to be owned a little bit. Baltimore's going to be unowned here today. And so I can get Hayes leading off. I'm very happy with it. But Devin, you ready to hop on here?
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
you
do
like
it.
that? You like that warning I gave you?
You know what's funny is I clicked my camera on when you said that, and I was like, oh wait, no, wrong timing.
You're just used to
Dean's
Dean fudging you
trained.
over.
Yeah, he's trained me to be quick on the button there. Well, I have a lot of questions. Not a lot. I got a lot of stacks for the stacks game. I'm sure you're both familiar. We'll repeat for the viewers. First number is ranking of primary stack. Second number is ranking of the secondary stack. Start with the Angels. Grant.
1-2, just because I like Ohtani every day.
Yeah. I don't really have any interest, but I'll say 1-2. You know, and the 2 is just play one bat, which is Ohtani.
All right, Baltimore. Kirk.
Baltimore, I like. Grant and I have both come around on them as we've done this show, so I think it's a solid. I'd say 4-3. I'd probably want a full stack or like a 4-man stack. So.
Yeah, I think I'm going 5-4. I'm, again, not playing a ton of laps. I think I'm just going to go all in on Baltimore.
All right, Houston. Grant.
Now it's Siri leading off 4-4.
I'm gonna say 3-4. I like them more for mini stacks. Yeah, Siri certainly helps that.
T in chat. We got the W yesterday for the Titans. I don't know if either of you are Titans fans here in the room.
Yeah, I'm a Seahawks fan. Let's move on.
Yankees. Kirk.
Yankees are 4-5. I mean 5-5 to be honest. I have 2 5s.
I'm going 4-5 just because that mini stack is fantastic because you're looking for bombs there.
Tampa Bay. Grant.
0. I'm not going to do it. I've locked in Ray.
The same. 1-1.
I'm going to have at least one lineup with a mini stack of Tampa Bay. Atlanta. Kirk.
Atlanta's a 5-5 for me. That's my favorite stack of the day.
I'm going 5-4.
Grant, are you originally from Seattle?
I'm originally from Washington State, Central Washington.
Honorary. Arizona. Grant.
1-2.
Oh, am I supposed to go too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was reading Mean Dean
Distracted
in chat
by
here.
Dean, yeah.
Yeah, Dean's always doing something behind the scenes, or he's always throwing me off. But 2-3. I like a couple of bats for mini stack preference.
Whether he's on the show or off the show, Dean's slowing it down one way or another. Milwaukee. Kirk.
I mean, it's so we now have a new pitcher. We've got Lester, right? Do you see that too?
John Lester.
Yeah.
Yeah. So John Lester. So certainly the Milwaukee stack, it goes up in the rankings here a little bit. So I'll say 3-4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-4 probably.
All right, Toronto. Grant.
3-4.
Same. Certainly can get to a rookie. I mean, the kid, you're always playing with fire and a kid's rookie's high prospects debut.
All right, 2 more. St. Louis. Kirk.
I like them. As I alluded to, I wouldn't go too crazy, but I want some of the bets. So I'll say like 3 for a full stack, 4 for a mini stack.
I'm going 3-2 just because I want leverage, so I'd want a full stack.
All right, round us off with Philly. Grant.
5-5.
4-4.
Flo in chat was wanting to know how'd we do this weekend. I think you guys touched a little bit on that at the top of the show, yeah?
I made $56.
Exactly. You should have just driven 30 miles away or 30 minutes away.
Yeah. Would have been 15 and a half less hours of work.
Only. Kirk, you said you had a better week 1, right?
Your boy lost a car this weekend.
That's a hit.
But he won 3 cars. He won 3 cars week 1. So
still up 2 cars.
These are used cars we're talking about.
Of course.
Yeah. And it's always when someone says that, like I always preface like, yeah, I lost I always use like Honda Accord. Like, yeah, I won a 2000 Honda Accord. Oh yeah, I won a 2014 Honda Accord. It was a good week.
How many Honda Accords
The problem is when I say used cars, the prices are crazy right now. I guess
now you got to start specifying the date.
I got to look up on my blue book rankings.
Richie was wanting to know: are you guys playing Baz at 6.9K on DK?
You can. I'm not going to. Like I'm just
6.5. 6.5 on DK. I have some interest. 6.9 on Yahoo. On FanDuel. I like him less. Yahoo, he's like $32. I like him there too.
All right, Grant, did you like Yanoa over 5.5 Ks?
I didn't even look at that. Let me think through this. He's going up against a not terribly high strikeout Atlanta team. His K rate's been around 30%. Let's see, 33% since he come back.
I can get a question to Kirk while you're thinking about it. Aaron.
Yeah, I would lean with the over there, considering that he's got a little bit of extreme splits when it comes to strikeouts.
Kirk, Aaron wants to know DK Cash, Duvall, Rosario, Tucker, or Gallo. Okay, so this is just pick one of these out of the 4. Duvall, Rosario, Tucker, or Gallo for DK Cash.
Wow, they're all
they're
all in play. So Gallo,
maybe take one.
Gallo,
away.
Tucker. Yeah, Gallo, Tucker, and Duvall are all the same price. So my favorite there would actually be for cash. Tucker, I guess Tucker is the cash, but I don't know. I like Duvall the best. Duvall or Gallo. Rosario is cheap. You certainly can play him too.
All right.
Just talked myself into the over on strikeouts.
Wait, Rosario's not. Wait, Rosario. Which Rosario are you talking about?
So Eddie on Atlanta?
Yeah, he didn't make the lineup. Oh yeah, he did. He's batting 6th. He's batting 6th. Yeah, that's not bad. That's certainly cash playable.
All right, I talked myself into the, over on strikeouts. How much do you think Evan Jim's going to let me get in there?
$20.
No, they've been surprisingly nice lately. $369. 28.
Nice.
Woo.
Let's
$3.69 or $369.
$369. It's
different
it's
for sure.
Football props, they let me get $20 in, and I haven't done great on football props, so I really don't understand it.
Josh wants to know for tournaments, Chapman or Arenado, I should say. Sorry, Nicole.
Arenado.
Yeah, I'm going with Arenado.
Any home run calls, guys?
Let's see. Hayes, Harper. Now I feel like I have to go with another H. So, Kirk, go ahead and go while I look for another H.
Just add an
I'm
H.
gonna say Rizzo smacks one tonight. I'm gonna say Austin Riley smacks one tonight, and Dansby Swanson gets one tonight.
I'm going to go with Haniger. All of them are going to be sub 4% owned.
Got it in there. Very nice. Well, that's just about the end of our showtime here. Don't forget, everybody, we got a NFL pre-lock show tonight for the showdown game with one Grant Neefer with Blender today. And then after that, after kickoff, Grant's going to be joined by Dean and SBK for a live show.
For a 3-hour live betting show.
It's a marathon.
Then after that, I have to go record the morning grind. My life is a nightmare.
Hit the like button for Grant. He's really pulling in.
Tough day today.
Yeah.
Much respect.
He's
for that.
putting the hours.
After a 16-hour day yesterday, I'm putting in back-to-back 16-hour days. Mondays are always rough. Tuesday, we'll see.
Just want to say what's up to my boy Big Show Brandon is in the chat here.
Nice. Aaron, we can't forget the super draft one with you wearing gear, Grant. Suarez 1.95 multiplier or Mania 1.9.
You go with Mania over there at 1.9.
All right, take us home, Grant.
All right, guys, it's been fun. Stay tuned for crunch time. We have got someone on there. I don't have the schedule pulled up, but I'm stalling right now until I look at the schedule. We got Roth, we got Tuttle, we got Cardi there. Make sure to tell Cardi in the Discord chat to suck it. We're out of here.
Suck it.
See you, kids.